In addition to that money, Grand Island has to come up with part of that funding. They need to come up with $8 million up front, and there are benchmarks beginning in October concerning that money. And they are also going to have to raise every year 10% of the 10% of the lottery funds that are generated by the state of Nebraska. And that number continues to go up. It began as $200,000. $2 million was the first number of dollars that came into the state fair from those lottery funds. That number continues to go up because in bad economies, people tend to gamble more. And that dollar amount could be as much as $280,000 the first year of the fair in Grand Island. And I think that's one of the reasons that we're seeing so much unhappiness in Grand Island. They see their taxes going up. They see a small group of people wanting the state fair to go to Grand Island, and yet they were never asked if they wanted to pay more in taxes for it to come there. And that 10% of the lottery funds that comes to the state fair was passed by the voters in 2004. It was called Amendment 4. And that money has come to the state fair and it has been spent. So we have been investing money in the state fair grounds, the buildings and facilities, since 2004. And that money really has been wasted if we move the state fair. It is investment that's lost. What's Fair Vote Nebraska's view on the Innovation Park?
The Innovation Park, we certainly, as some people have suggested, that maybe we're against the Innovation Park. We're certainly not against the Innovation Park. If the university can do this and make it successful, we're all for that. Our problem is we think the Innovation Park can be built somewhere else without sacrificing 107-year-old tradition, which is our Nebraska State Fair, in the location that it's been all these years. It's curious to me that the university that's so steeped in tradition apparently doesn't seem to have a lot of regard for the tradition that's the Nebraska State Fair. Having said that, we're certainly in favor of the university pursuing an innovation park. We just think that this is a heavy price to pay, given the specifics, or the lack of specifics, and the lack of expense that the innovation park is going to cost us.
The University of Nebraska has many acres in Lincoln and Lancaster County that they already own and could be developed into an innovation park. We see that as a much better alternative, certainly a lesser expensive alternative, and it would still work. Let's talk a little bit about upcoming events.
Okay, upcoming events. Obviously, this show is taped, so some of these events will be past by the time you see this. But this Tuesday we'll be at Jazz in June. This Wednesday we'll be at the State Theater, where we're having an event from 5 in the afternoon till 8, where you can come in and sign the petition. We'll have this publicized on as many media outlets as we can. It'll also be on their marquee, so that when you're driving down O Street, you can see it. So remember, Wednesday at 5 to 8, State Theater.
One of the fun things that's come about is a 1965 Chinook RV. And at 48th and Cornhusker, we have been out there for 2.5 days. And it's interesting that it draws people in. It's something fun, and this has to be fun because it's hard work. So we try and make it fun for you and fun for us as well. And that Chinook RV is going to be parked at several locations in Lincoln. 33rd and A is a certainty. We don't know when it will be there. And we hope that there will be other locations that we will be at with the Chinook. And we would hope that you would come by there and sign a petition, as well as maybe pick up a few to circulate.
Joe, we've got some other locations. We'll also be at the Farmers Market on Saturday mornings downtown at the Haymarket. And we're planning on being at a lot of other public events where there's a lot of people. Surely you'll see one of us there. We're trying to be at the horse race track. So if you're going to the horse races, watch for us out there. We'll also plan on being at a lot of the 4th of July celebrations, especially in Seward, where we'll have a very large presence.
Probably one last thing. If we, in fact, close the State Fair Park as it stands today and move just technically the State Fair, the State Fair Board will no longer own any buildings in Grand Island. Now they own buildings that are insured for $70 million. In all likelihood, 95% of those buildings will be raised. So the State Fair is not going to have any belongings, except maybe picnic tables. So how long would it be before we can see an innovation park and we can see dollars from an innovation park?
I've heard that it could be 10 to 20 years that it's going to take. If you figure the lost payroll at the State Fair, that's $2.5 million a year. Over 10 years, that's $25 million. 20 years is $50 million. This is revenue that's totally lost while we're waiting for something to happen. We feel that we can have both. We can have the State Fair, we can improve the State Fair, we can increase that $27 million worth of economic impact by making improvements to the existing facilities. We can also have an innovation park. We just need to find another location because after all, State Fair Park has a tenant and we don't feel that it's time for the tenant to move.